Let's see how you do under pressure. Oh, yeah. I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey. Yeah. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the boy.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Huge shout out to the people that are currently in the chat. We got AC, we got Billy, we got Arturo, JK, Jameson, Sid Apple, Kendrick, Pete. What's up, y'all? Appreciate you for being here in the chat. Do me a huge favor, smack up the like button on your way in, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a good, fun-filled show for you guys today. Let's go ahead and give a huge shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. That's going to be none other than BetUS. If you're looking for a brand new sports book, BetUS is the way to go. Currently, right now, I've used promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. Of course, you will be getting 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and 125% sign-up bonus on the following two. That's going to be using promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. Of course, bet responsibly and bet within your means. But ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. Now, unfortunately, I was supposed to be joined by my good buddy here, Joe, the Cardinal Rule. If you do not know him, he does have his YouTube channel out there, but he's really, really good with numbers, right? He's got access to PFF and likes to break down the numbers and figure out exactly what's going on with the Arizona Cardinals, now currently on a 3-game stretch. And he was supposed to be on today, but unfortunately, technical difficulties. But he did provide me what we need to talk about in this specific podcast. Obviously, shout out to him. Make sure you show him some love on X or YouTube. The Cardinal Rule, great guy. We're going to be diving into the numbers right now. When I originally reached out to him, I was like, hey, can you do me a huge favor? Can you look up, sacks that Kyler Murray took? Are they his fault? Are we having an O-line problem, right? Or what's currently going on right now at the state? What are the numbers showing on PFF? Now, also keep in mind, PFF is subject to specific what they feel like, right? We got NFL or football gurus that are making a specific grade on a specific player. So also got to keep that in mind. It is subjective. So take this as you will. But one thing that kind of piqued my attention or piqued my interest is that we had one specific subscriber, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, tagged me 4 or 5 different times on a comment and saying things like, I am ignoring the fact that the Cardinals are having this issue and it's not Kyler Murray's fault. The issue is that the offensive line is the problem, right? So I had this guy reach out to me multiple different times, tag me like 4 or 5 times. So I got all these notifications here, and I wanted to, dig into the numbers, right? Because I also had somebody else saying, instead of talking about, Kyler Murray being his therapy session or being his therapist, show us the film. Unfortunately, I can't show you film because I get copyrighted from the NFL. So there's that, but some also said, okay, well, show us the numbers. Okay, well, let's do that. Let's look at the PFF numbers, and we will be doing a deep dive into it together. Now, if you're sitting back asking yourself, why haven't we been talking about Cardinals versus Patriots? We will be having our Behind Enemy Lines video out tomorrow. I already reached out to my guy, the insider, that we're going to be doing the Behind Enemy Lines, and that will be released tomorrow. So Cardinals-Patriots game one day before the matchup. So hopefully Cardinals can pull off a win, but the big question mark out there right now is, can the Arizona Cardinals season be saved, right? Can the Arizona Cardinals season be saved? So a lot to talk about today, a lot to dive into. But like I said before, I want to go ahead and first start off with talking about the numbers, right? Now, like I said before, and there's a flu going around right now, so I apologize if I do sound a little stuffy. I'm trying to get over something that's currently going on, and it got my daughter too. So my daughter's recovering from a sickness as well. So let's look into the numbers here, ladies and gentlemen, and you guys make your own opinion, right? I'm only going to be providing you this information if you guys think that, I'm just making things up, right, out of a whim. I have a lot of people saying, oh, you don't even give us concrete information, Mike. You don't give us concrete information. Well, here's this, right? Take it as you will. If you do believe it, cool. If you don't, then hey, at this point, it's going to be up to your discretion to figure out if you truly believe that what I've been saying this whole time is correct, or am I just being a hater like people have been saying, right? So let's do that. Okay. I think the graphics all fixed up here. It's a little wonky still right now. Let me see if I can fix this one more time. All right, I think we should be good now. All right, here we go. We got into the matrix there for a little bit. All right, let's bring you down there. Let's make you a little bigger. Here we go. Here we go. All right, let's dive into the numbers here. Now, another quick shout out here to my guy Joe from the Cardinal Rule for supplying us this information. And let's get started here. Okay, so here it is. So this is going to be uh, his Twitter. It's at Joe Camo 13. So go and make sure you show him some love on over there if you do want to. And this is what he found out, right? Now, I specifically asked, can you look up these specific things? And he gave us this. So this is great stuff. Let's dive into it. He says, I did a deep dive into PFF data on Kyler Murray and pressure. Compared to other QBs who led their team in dropbacks, I looked at how quarterback performances under pressure versus clean pockets when blitzed versus not blitzed. Here is what I found, right? Because I think we can all agree that this offense has not looked up to par, right, to win consistent games, right? Especially when you're looking at, is this team scoring touchdowns? Is this team settling for field goals? Are we converting third downs? Now, I want to be very, very clear. My stance on this offense has always been the same thing from the week one to now, right? And of course, I gave a little bit of a grace because week one, we're still trying to get accustomed to this offense. But as the numbers don't lie, here we go. So let's continue with this thread here. A lot of good stuff. He says this: all quarterbacks graded better when clean versus under pressure, and Kyler Murray had the 13th highest drop-off in his PFF grade when under pressure versus in a clean pocket. This alone isn't all that bad. The real story is when we look at how he performs when blitzed. Okay? Keep it going. Kyler Murray's drop-off when blitzed versus not blitzed was the worst among all quarterbacks who led their team in dropbacks. Now, we're going to talk about this. Let's just finish. His PFF grade dropped off from 86.8 when not blitzed to 62.1 when blitzed. That's a drop of 24.7 points or 28.5% decline. The average decline among all quarterbacks was 2.6%. So when Kyler Murray has a clean pocket compared to when he's blitzed, the drop-off is 24.7. When amongst all quarterbacks, the drop-off usually is around 2.6. Freaking wild, right? Let's keep it going. In fact, there are 13 quarterbacks who actually perform better when blitz. Same story when looking specifically at his PFF passing grade. Murray's passing grade goes from 83.8 when not blitzed to 58.6 when blitzed, for a drop off of 25.2 points or 30%. And surprisingly, teams have scouted and noticed this. Kyler has faced blitzes on 34.8% of his dropbacks, which is the 9th highest amongst quarterbacks in this analysis. So here's the offensive line for the guy out there saying this, all the offensive line. Here it is. The offensive line has done their part. He has a clean pocket, 69.2% of the dropbacks, which is the 6th highest. Let me read this again for that subscriber that kept tagging me over and over and over again, saying this is the offensive line. Let me read this part. The offensive line has done their part. He has a clean pocket on 69.2% of his dropbacks, which is the 6th highest. Let's keep it going. And while Kyler Murray is unique in his ability to scramble and escape pressure, he is much better at escaping pressure that comes without blitzes. Makes sense, right? 4 men front, you can escape 4 men compared to 5 or 6, right? PFF measures the percentage of pressures that result in sacks with a stat called percentage of pressures turned into sacks. Looking at the difference in that stat right there, when blitz versus not blitz, Murray has the 6th highest difference. So when teams do blitz, his ability to escape drops off significantly. So, ladies and gentlemen, the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie at all. I've been talking about this for what seems like months now, right? And of course, with you coming out and already trying to, address the elephant in the room, people do not want to know what the issue is, right? I believe, if I'm going to be 110% honest with you here, that yes, has there been specific times that this offensive line has not hold their end to the bargain? Of course, right? That very first Seattle Seahawks game was crucial. They didn't have a good game. We were out physicaled. We were out physicaled in that first Seattle game. I think he had the most sacks that whole entire freaking year. Or this whole entire year, he had like what, 5 sacks on him? 4 or 5 sacks on Kyler. He was pressured. He was under duress. But with what we're seeing in the data, if a defensive coordinator wants to get in the head of Kyler Murray, you blitz him. You blitz him. You get back there, rattle his cage, and don't allow him to escape the pocket because, as we kind of already knew, we just wanted some sort of data to back it up because some people like to think in data, right? Some people like to think of, okay, well, what I've been saying. What I've Kyler Murray hasn't been playing great these last 3 weeks. Now, I've been pretty critical on Kyler Murray even past these 3 weeks as well, because I'm not going to sit here and say Kyler Murray was the sole reason why we have 6 wins this year, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that. Now, of course, because you were at one point a 6-4 team, who's the one that gets the glory? Who's the one that gets the flowers? Kyler Murray did, right? Kyler Murray was the one who got the flowers and got the idea that, oh my God, MVP race, right? But now when things go bad and things aren't looking good, instead of actually trying to recognize the problem and what's currently going on, people want to turn it off. People don't want to think. People want to lose hope. People don't want to face the facts and what's currently going on. You pressure Kyler Murray and he shrinks. And I'm not trying to be funny there. He shrinks at the moment, right? Doesn't show up at the moment that we need him to show up in. You blitz Kyler and he's playing too much in his head, it's game over. It's game over. Now, what we're trying to establish on this podcast is, can this be fixed? Can the Cardinals save their season? Right now, please keep in mind that I'm not saying save their season in terms of, oh, we're going to win the NFC West, right? No, those dreams are over, ladies and gentlemen. Those dreams are way over now, right? The last Seahawks game was the fork in the steak, whatever. It was done. It's cooked. You still have a chance to hit the playoffs. Yes, you do, right? But a lot of things need to work out in your favor in order for you to try to hit the playoffs, let alone win the division, right? You need all these other teams in front of you, Rams and or Seahawks, to lose the rest of the way, and you need to win the rest of the way. And guess what? That's the hole the Cardinals found themselves in. They put themselves in a hole. But like I've been suspecting this whole time, this offensive line has not been bad. It hasn't been bad. We want to throw excuses out and say things like, oh man, when Jonah Williams came in, everything kind of broke. I mean, yeah, there is a sense of they need to get familiar, right? And I'm not going to come out here and say we have the best offensive line in the world. No, that's not the case. I'm not saying that, but we also, let's not sit back and act like we got a bottom 5 offensive. We have an offensive line that's holding their end of the bargain. They're holding their end of the bargain with what we're seeing here. And of course, the Cardinals, putting themselves back behind the chains with penalties, either with Paris Johnson Jr. or a illegal man, up the field with an offensive lineman like Froholt. Of course, when the Cardinals put themselves in that hole, you can't get out of that hole because for some reason, this offensive side of the ball, they don't have plays in their playbook, or Kyler Murray just doesn't want to do it, make chunk plays to get that first down converted, right? It feels like whenever the Cardinals have a holding call or any penalty that's putting them already behind the chains, I don't feel confident that the Cardinals are going to convert that first down. It almost feels like, oh, this is a wash. Okay, we're done. Okay, let's prepare for the next drive because we're not going to convert this to save our life. Why, right? Why? That's the question we all should be asking ourselves, and nobody wants to. Nobody wants to. We know what is happening. We know what the numbers are right here are supporting what I've been saying this whole time. Can we get this season fixed? Win. You want to take the heat off your back? You want people to stop being negative? You want people to stop, talking bad about your Arizona Cardinals? I had some subscriber come out and say, "Oh, you're too negative." Well, guess what? When you're an organization that only has one technically winning season under your belt in the last what seems like 5 to 6 to 7 years, of course, you're going to get fans like me that are vocal and that are going to have a voice and be opinionated. What's there to be happy about? What? We got $100 million next year. We got Kyler Murray going into his 7th year because of obviously contract situation. What's there to be positive about? We saw what Monty Austinford has done in these past free agents. That doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies. We had 2 free agents that has worked out for the Cardinals right now. 2. One in the first year of Monty, that's Kazir White, and the second one in Mac Wilson Sr. Well, we didn't have enough money, Mike. We didn't have enough money. The Cardinals had money to spend. They chose not to spend it. How many times have we been talking about since the beginning of the year? The Cardinals have upwards of $19, $20 million to spend. They can do something. They're choosing not to. Why? That's the question. Why? Right? And nobody wants to deep dive into that, right? It's all excuses. Year two, year two, year two. So if I need to sit up here and be the bad guy, I will. I will. I've done this from the beginning. And that's one of the main reasons why people don't like me. And that's completely fine. I don't need to be liked by everybody else. I don't care. You want to be fluffed up? You want to hear why the Cardinals can be better next year because that's the plan all along. And somehow all the things that we've been seeing from year 1 to year 6 is going to automatically change and fix. And we're going to be a Super Bowl team because we got $100 million. Then you believe whatever you want to believe. But guess what? We're probably going to find ourselves in the same situation 2 or 3 years down the road. And guess what? It's going to be again, oh, this is a rebuilding process. It happens every single year. Why? Why, you ask yourself? Because the Cardinals don't want to do anything to change it at the moment. They're willing to sit on their hands. They're willing to sit back and say, okay, this fan base is saying it's okay, right? It's year 2. We don't got heat under our belts. They don't care. All right, let's sit back and let's rebuild on our terms. Well, guess what? We've seen teams like the Seattle Seahawks rebuild in one freaking year. You got Mike McDonald over there. Mike McDonald with 8 wins and potentially going to win the NFC West as a rookie head coach. We had one of those coaches. His name was Bruce Arians, and we completely ran him out of town. I'm not sitting here and saying I don't like Jonathan Gannon. Hopefully, I still have a little bit of hope. But if you're going to be tying your career to Kyler, I mean, it's your job. It's your job. I mean, that's all I got to say. Is Kyler coming back in 2025? Most likely. Most likely. He's probably going to be the quarterback in 2025. Doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies. I don't feel like we're going to win the NFC West, let alone the Super Bowl. I have somebody tell me that we're going to win the Super Bowl. Come on now. Come on now. Let's get to AC. What's up, AC? Appreciate you, man. Thank you so very much for the super chat. He says this: Niners are done. Let's say the Hawks and the Rams win 10 games. Cardinals win their 4 remaining games. Who wins the division? Then if 3 teams have 4 wins, it depends on tiebreakers, right? It depends on tiebreakers. Now, if you're saying that the Cardinals, let's say, for example, let's say we beat the 49ers, right? Let's say that truthfully what you're saying is correct, right? Let's say the 49ers are done. The Cardinals still need to beat the 49ers at the end of the game, at the end of the season, right? And on top of that, you got to beat the Rams. So you're saying we can go on a 4-game winning streak, which is possible, right? I'm not ruling anything out, but it's possible. If they do that, if that happens, it all depends on tiebreakers. Guess what? The Seattle Seahawks has your number. The Seattle Seahawks are 2-0 versus the Arizona Cardinals. 2-0. So, tiebreakers, division, within division. And that's what's going to come down to. So, technically, if the Cardinals go 4-0 here, you're 10 wins. That's cool. We'll take that. We'll take that absolutely. But the Seattle Seahawks is always going to have it because they've swept you, right? But that's also kind of wishful thinking to me. I don't know how we're going to get past the Rams. I really don't. The Rams look like they took a whole nother step. They took a whole nother step in this last 3 or 4 weeks. Not sure if you noticed, but the Rams look to be pretty good. But the optimism, I like. If the Cardinals go 4-0, we're a 10-win team. True. But Let's not sit here and act like this Patriots team isn't going to want to fight tooth and nail to win that game for Gerard Mayo, right? Or for Drake May. I learned a lot from my guy today, which we're going to release the video tomorrow behind the enemy lines. I learned a lot today. I really did. And I'm not as confident. Of course, I'm going to be watching the game. Of course, we're going to be doing the live play-by-play, and hopefully the Cardinals win. But confidence level on an all-time high, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Which Cardinals team shows up? That's going to be the big question out there. Which Cardinals team shows up, right? Which Kyler Murray shows up? Because their defense is actually pretty darn good for what they have on the roster, right? Like I'm saying to our defense is pretty darn good, right? With who we have on the roster, I think they're solid. They're solid. Can we beat them? Yeah, we can. But depends on what offense comes up. Depends if we're able to, execute these big plays, right? So just like I suspected, ladies and gentlemen, right? For the people out there saying, well, throw us the numbers, right? You're negative. You're negative. Well, I'm negative because the Cardinals have one winning season in what seems like years on years on years and years. That's why, right? You want to call it negative? I call it real. Simple as that. Basically, Hawks have to lose 3 out of their 4 remaining games. Yep. Well, I mean, right now the Hawks have 8 wins. The Hawks right now have 8 wins on the season. So they're 8-5. The Rams are 8-6 right now. So that means they need 2 more wins. Now, granted, the Rams already played their week 15, so they got 3 more games. The Seattle Seahawks right now are 8-5. So they need to lose. Yeah. Either all of them or 3 of 4 they need to lose. And the same thing goes for the Rams. Hopefully they lose the next 3 and the Cardinals win the next 4, right? That's the only chance. That's the only chance the Cardinals have. For the Seahawks to lose out or lose 3 of 4. And the Rams to do kind of the same. So, is there a chance? Is there hope? There is. There's a little hope. There's a little chance. I think last time I looked, there was less than 10% of a chance for the Cardinals to win the West or potentially make a NFC West push. But there's still a little sliver of hope, right? Niners have a 1% chance of making the playoffs. I mean, the Cardinals are not too far off. The Cardinals are probably like 5, maybe even 7% chance of making the playoffs. It ain't good. It ain't good. Can they take care of business within these next 2 games? They can, right? They can. Can they be a 8-win team by the time the season ends? They can. They can. The Rams are a much better team because they've been healthier. And the 49ers, let's see what they do. If the Cardinals win 3 out of 4, which I know, I get it. I get it. You're probably going to be like, what are you talking? They're not going to win 3 or 4. I'm just saying if. Bear with me here. I'm saying if. If they win 3 of 4, then of course that makes you a 9-win team, right? You got to win 10 games. That's the only thing that can make you secure with potentially winning the West. You got to win all 4. Can they? I don't know. It starts with the Patriots. But I personally don't got the confidence. But if you do, good. If you got the confidence, good. Bring that good juju over to State Farm Stadium. We can use a win. But that's just one of those things, right? We're hoping for a lot of things to happen correctly in order for you to even make that playoff push, right? So for the people that are just joining, I want to make sure that I get you guys involved in this conversation as well, because this stream today on Friday was supposed to be with my guy Joe, the Cardinal Roll. Unfortunately, technical difficulties got in the way. But I want to make sure for the new people that are joining in right now that are fully aware as terms of like what we're talking about, right? I ended up kind of asking him to do a deep dive into PFF because he's got access to the PFF grades. I don't, but he does. And what he found, it's not one of those things that I'm shocked with, because this is kind of what I've been talking about. This is just only it's telling me that I was correct this whole time, right? That's all it's telling me, right? But I'm glad he did, because honestly, He's better with the numbers than I am. Let's read this back again. I'm not going to go ahead and stop. I'm going to read it straight through. You guys can read it yourself here on the screen as well. But shout out here to Joe Camo13 on X. He says this: I did a deep dive into some PFF data on Kyler Murray and pressure compared to other quarterbacks who have led their team in dropbacks. I looked at how quarterbacks performed under pressure versus clean pocket, and when blitz versus not blitz. Here's what I found. All quarterbacks graded better when clean versus under pressure. Kyler Murray had the 13th highest drop-off in PFF grades when under pressure versus in a clean pocket. This alone isn't all that bad. The real story is when we looked at how he performed when blitzed. Kyler Murray's drop-off when blitz versus not blitz was the worst among all quarterbacks who led their team in dropbacks. His PFF grades dropped from 86.8 when not blitz to 62.1 when blitz. That's a drop-off of 24.7 points or a 28.5% decline. The average decline amongst all quarterbacks was 2.6. In fact, there are 13 quarterbacks who have actually performed better when blitz. Same story when looking specifically at PFF passing grades. Murray passing grades goes from 83.8 when not blitz to 58.6 when blitzed for a drop-off of 25.2 points or 30%. And unsurprisingly, teams have scouted and noticed this. Kyler has faced blitzes 34.8% of his dropbacks, which is the 9th highest among quarterbacks in this analysis. The offensive line has done their part. He has a clean pocket on 69.2%. Let me read that again. The offensive line has done their part. He has a clean pocket on 69.2% of his dropbacks, which is the 6th highest. Okay, and keep going. And while Kyler Murray is unique in his ability to scramble and escape pressure, he is much better at escaping pressure that comes without blitzes. PFF measures the percentage of pressures that results in sacks with a stat called percentage of pressures turning to sacks. Looking at the difference in that stat when blitz versus not blitz, Murray has the 6th highest difference. So when teams do blitz, his ability to escape drops off significantly. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Now, like I said before, we read this before, right? This is PFF. Subject, right? Subjective. If you want to take this, cool. Take it as you will, right? If you don't, but this is for the person out there that kind of screamed, that tagged me 4 or 5 times on comments saying, oh, you're not telling us what the real problem is. The real problem is the offensive line. It's not. It's not the offensive line. Have they struggled when Jonah Williams have come in? Yes. Yeah, there's a little bit of a drop-off. I can agree. I've acknowledged that there was a drop-off when Jonah Williams has come in as opposed to when Kelvin Beachum was in there, right? Before the bye week, when Jonah's come back, there's a drop-off. But not to the point where we're talking about Kyler Murray is consistently under duress. No, it's decisions that are being made by our quarterback. That is what is happening, and one of the main reasons why we can't convert a 1st and 20. Why can't we convert a 1st and 20? Why? Why can't we convert a 1st and 19? Why? Because 2 things are true. You're going to see a run play somewhere there, which is either, Drew Petzing, the scheme, Kyle, I don't care who you blame, but it's going to be a run. There's going to be a drop off. And that third play is probably going to be some sort of incomplete. It's probably going to be maybe another drop off or heck, maybe even another run. The Cardinals, for some reason, when they are behind the sticks, they don't have plays or try to execute plays that are going to give them that first down when they're behind the chains. They almost kind of seem like we give up, white flag, let's move on to the next drive. They can't convert those 1st and longs, or those 3rd and longs. They can't. Even when you're sitting at a 1st and 20, you're telling me that we can't get 8, 9, 10 yards, right? We can't get a chunk play. We can't throw a ball to get that chunk, right? To work with 2nd and manageable. And of course, manageable still means 2nd and 10 plus. They don't. They don't. I don't know how much more I can describe, ladies. I don't know how much more I can say, right? And if there needs to be one guy out there that's called negative, cool, call me. That's fine. I'm completely fine with that because I was in front of the whole Cliff Kingsbury thing too. Was I eating crow in 2021 when we started off really hot? Yeah, of course. I was eating crow, and I was happy to eat crow because that means my team is doing good, right? But this feels the exact same way. This feels the exact same way right now. We know what the problem is. We see the problem. And Jonathan Gannon wants to call out the defense. Nick Rallis and Jonathan Gannon wants to call out the defense. Now, I'm not going to blame this on Nick Rallis. Nick Rallis' job is the defensive coordinator. So when he's coming out here and saying, yeah, I didn't see we had a high enough motor, right? I don't blame him. His job is the defense. He has nothing to do with the offense. But Jonathan Gannon coming out here blaming not blaming, but, want to be critical of the defense and not really looking at the bright spot. What we know what the problem is. Stop lying. We know what the problem is. Let me get to my guy, that guy on the chat. What's up, brother? He says, was at the game. Brutal view of the the Ryland doink. Yeah, I mean, well, that didn't help either, right? That didn't help either. And that's what I'm saying. It's not all on Kyler. And when I'm saying we know what the problem is, doesn't mean it's all him, right? Two things can be true. It's not all Kyler, but also he's not helping the situation to get this offense rolling, right? Yeah, that was brutal. That was brutal. But what happened before that, right? What happened before the Ryland doink, right? What happened before that? It was what, 3rd and 2? Instead of playing this as, hey, let's just convert this first down, either a run or maybe even converting maybe a short pass, it takes the ball deep. Takes the ball deep with Marvin because it was a man coverage and he wanted to give his man the opportunity. Okay, well, I mean, that's subjective, right? Do you think that's a good decision? Cool. If you don't, cool too. But it's not like this is a one-time thing where we're like, oh man, Kyler took an opportunity. This is 1 to 6 years of the same things that happen. 3rd and short, let's throw the ball deep and let's try to get this yardage back. There's panic. There's panic that sits in. So yes, I agree. The Ryland doink was terrible. It was unfortunate. It was a killer of momentum for the Cardinals. But if we just focused on what was the task at hand to convert that first down, we probably shouldn't have been putting Ryland in that situation anyways. We know he's been a little shaky. We know he has been. But we ain't talking about that, right? We ain't talking about the taking the ball deep to Marvin. It wasn't a good decision. It wasn't. It was not a good decision at all from the get. And he even said it. Oh, in hindsight, I probably could have got it to Elijah. I could have probably got it to Dortch, right? But got a little greedy. Got a little greedy. This is not a one-time thing. This is years and years and years of the same thing that Kyler Murray does. All the same things that he's done before is the same thing. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. 23K, what's up, brother? He says that's why Petzing needs to be fired. Mike even said it's on Drew. Petzing, he needs to go. No, I've never once said Petzing needs to be fired. I've never once said Petzing needs to be fired. No, ever. The only way I would see a firing happening or heads will roll is if we only win 6 or 7 games. Not even 7. 6 games. If the Cardinals only win 6 games, but I've never, ever once said, to be very, very clear, I've never, ever once said Petzing needs to go. Have I made videos about entitling it? Does Petzing need to go? Yeah, of course. I made it because this is my opinion on the whole topic that's currently going on. But I've never, ever once said Drew Petzing needs to get fired. Never. Ever. Never. Ever. And I don't know where people are coming up with this narrative of things that I said that I've never ever said once before. I guess it's easy to throw somebody under the bus. And I'm not saying you're doing that, 23K. But never have I ever said Drew needs to get fired. Ever. Have we had the discussion before? We've had a discussion. And I've said the same thing. No, I don't think. I think if Kyler comes back, Drew comes back. Right? Now, it's going to be Jonathan Gannon's decision at the end of the day. Okay, if you want to fire him, cool. Okay, I'm not losing sleep over it. But I never once said he needs to be fired. Ever. Brandon says, yes, it's panic all the time. Why can't we focus on moving the chains in these situations? They never do. Never. It never happens. It never happens. At least ASU is doing well. Yeah, I mean, well, that's all we got going for us, right? But that's what we do as Cardinal, or that's what we do as Cardinal fans, right? We know what's at stake. We know what's here. Instead of putting this organization under some sort of pressure, we look to the team that does well, right? Let's just focus on the Suns. The Suns aren't doing so good either right now. They need Kevin Durant, and it's very, very obvious that they need Kevin Durant to win freaking games. But ASU, right? It's easy to come back and say, oh, well, let's just watch the ASU games, right? Because they're the only ones that are getting us happy. Yeah, but then the Cardinals go down the wayside, and it's another year with potentially, right? Potentially, they might not amount to nothing next year, right? That means another wasted year for the Cardinals, and it's just the same cycle over and over and over again because of the decisions that are being made. It's unfortunate. JK, what's up, JK? The whole chat from last week wanted to fire Drew. Exactly. Not me. Just because my chat says something doesn't mean I want to fire. I never once said fire Drew. If that's what Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort decided to do, then okay. I mean, that's what they do, right? I never once said it. Never ever once said it. Pete says, let's be honest, you need to find a willing trade partner looking to dispose of their QB. Panthers, Bryce Young. And I want to be very clear here. I'm not trying to trade Kyler Murray. No, I'm not trying to. And this is another big narrative out there as well. Have I lost faith in the quarterback? Yeah. But is he the best decision we have right now? Yeah. He's the best quarterback we got right now, right? You can't be blinded to the fact that he's the best quarterback you got right now. Do I want to trade Kyler? No. What I want the Cardinals to do is plant the seed for a potential backup plan. That's what I'm looking for. I've lost faith in Kyler. I have. Absolutely, I have. I'm not going to be embarrassed to say I've lost faith in Kyler Murray and his ability to win us a division, Super Bowl, consistent winnings year in and year out. I've lost faith in him. Do I want to get rid of him? I mean, no, because what can you truly get? I mean, you're going to have a dead cap hit. No, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this Cardinals organization to plant the seed and acknowledge the fact that there is a problem, that there is a problem. So that's where I'm coming from, right? And I think somehow the wires get crossed. You see a thumbnail, you see a title, and you're like, oh man, Mike wants to get rid of it. He wants to trade him. No, I'm not trying to trade him away. I understand he's probably the third best quarterback the Cardinals have had in recent years. I'm fully aware of that. Plant the seed, find a backup plan, and if that backup plan doesn't work, then we're talking about 2026 NFL draft, right? And more backup plan to go there because I just don't have it. I don't have the faith. I don't have it. Two years under Jonathan Gannon, Drew Petzing, and Kyler. I've seen enough to say, okay, we've already had Cliff that's excelling in the offensive coordinator role with Jaden Daniels. Excelling. Is he going to get a head coaching job? Probably, right? Probably. And good for him. But I still don't think Cliff Kingsbury has proven that he can still be a good head coach. If he does, then good. Congratulations to him. We got duped, right? But the fact of the nature is, I don't think we can trade him. Unless the Cardinals only win 6 games this year, if they win more than, let's say they win 7, I still think somehow this organization is going to tell themselves we had progress, right? Progress, and nothing's going to happen. If they don't win another game this year, then probably something will happen. But if they just need one more win, to be honest with you, because that's expectations, that's what this fan base is going to allow, right? That's what progress looks like to no matter if you get blown out 1 or 2 more times, right? You get 7 wins, I think that's enough for them to say, oh, well, we're good, right? And it's going to be the same things over and over again. How many times have I had this conversation with people 3 or 4 years ago? Well, guess what? Those people that I had these conversations with 3 or 4 years ago, nobody's back. They're all gone. No, but they're not here. The people that told me that Cliff Kingsbury was the guy at the head coach after a year or 2, when I was so freaking disappointed the Cardinals couldn't get the dang job done, right? That's similar, right? The Cardinals can't get the job done. What? Deja vu? 2 or 3 years later, deja vu? And I'm not talking about 2021. I'm talking about 2020 when the Cardinals had a clear path at the playoffs and we couldn't beat 2 backup quarterbacks. Same thing. What? We can't get the job done? And those guys that were clamoring that I was wrong, look at now. And now we're rebuilding again. And we're going to constantly be in a state of rebuild. It's always going to be like that. I hate that I don't have the faith, but with what I've seen from K1 right now, his skittishness, I'm just not there. I don't got the confidence. Does anybody, let me know in the chat. Anybody in the chat, does anybody have the confidence right now? Let me know. In the first couple years, this was seen as a negative channel, and that's fine, right? Because I gave you 1.5 years of very solid positivity. I broke away from my I want to tell the truth. So hey, let's just ride the line of let's just try to be positive, right? And guess what? We're right back at it. We're right back in the same situation. So the question to you is, do you have faith that I'm wrong? Everything I'm saying is wrong, right? Oh, we have $100 million. We're going to win the Super Bowl. We're going to win the division next year. Tell me I'm wrong right now. Tell me, somebody, who's got faith? Seriously, honest question. Honest question. Who's got the faith? And it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening because the fan base allows it. It's just the way that it is. It's the fan base allows it. We allow it. We blame Michael Bidwell, but look at the mirror. Look at yourself. Look at him. This podcast, I wanted to make sure I very, very specifically brought numbers up because people love to say, when I'm watching these games, I'm using my eyes, right? That's what I'm using. I'm using my eyes more than anything. Now, can my eyes fool me? Of course. They've been fooled before. Yeah, of course. But I'm using my eyes when I'm watching these. And that's why I reached out to my guy, Joe, the Cardinal Rule, right? Because he's great with numbers. He's got access to PFF. And what we learned, what's wrong? What have I said differently than what the PFF numbers have entailed? What have I? Am I wrong? Am I right? What? No, but we want to listen to fluff. We want to listen to, oh man, this is what we can do next year because it's going to happen. I'm keeping it 100 for you. And let me tell you, this reel is my reel. You're right. Opinions differ. You could probably sit back and be like, oh man, this guy's going on a tangent again. This guy's going to be negative as they come. Well, guess what? When you have one winning season in what feels like 5 to 6 to 7 years, of course, frustration starts to set in. Of course, frustration starts to set in. Do you blame me? We had every chance of the imagination, every chance to win this NFC West this year because of the way that things were shaking out. The Rams were decimated with injuries. The 49ers are decimated with injuries. Devondre Campbell, former Arizona Cardinal, walked out of his team. He left the game. He said, I don't want to play. So the 49ers are going through their own shambles right now, right? So the Cardinals could potentially win the third spot in the NFC West. Congratulations. Congratulations on your bronze medal. You had this. You were 6-4, and you let it slip. And we got Jonathan Gannon coming in here, laughing. Oh, yeah, what's up? Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying fire a job, but I kind of have a problem with that. Like, where's the seriousness to this? Like, are you talking serious to the players that, okay, if that's the case, then I'll be quiet. But you come in, happy Friday. What? We're at a 3-game losing streak right now, and then nobody cares because guess what? It's year 2. It's year 2. It's absolutely insane with what we are allowing to happen with this multi-billion-dollar organization that consistently does this year in and year out. Can we beat the Patriots? Yes, we can. But there's a reason why I'm not really covering this game very much. The season is cooked. It's done. Only chance you got is going on a 4-game winning streak, and a lot of things happen to help you out. Can I be wrong? Of course I can be. Do I want to be wrong? Of course I want to be. The proof of the pudding, ladies and gentlemen, is that you can hire a good head coach. And I'm not saying Jonathan Gannon isn't a good head coach, because I know people are going to be like, oh my God, Mike says he wants Jonathan Gannon fired. No, I don't. But you can hire a coach that in year one can excel and make you a 8 to 9 to 10 win team. It can. You got to get the right guys. Obviously, you got to get the right players that are bought in. Of course, right? Everything needs to work out. Of course. But let's not sit here and act like the way that the Cardinals do things year in and year out is how every NFL team works, because that's not the case. It's not the case. We always have to bring somebody in to develop and to always hope for 1 year to 2 year to 3 year to 4 year. It's just the way that it is. It's the way that it is. Now, what's the jump? We had 4 wins. That was our mark, right? That was our bar. Not a very high bar. You can win 5 games and you do better than you do last year, right? You could be 5 and 12? No. Yeah, you're 5 and 12 and you're already better than last year, right? Of course, the Cardinals want to win more games. Of course. But they got real problems, in my personal opinion. Nobody, not everybody's gonna believe me. That's fine. That's completely okay. Win the Patriots first. Worry about the Panthers. But I know some people out there saying that if you don't win these next 2 games, things will only get louder. Does anybody expect us to beat the Rams? I don't know at this point. I don't know what this team is. I don't know what this team is. I really don't. 49ers, that might be a dub. We'll see. Can we get past the Patriots? That's the question. Keith in the chat says Cards 500 or lower for 30 of 37. Ding, 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 ding. No, but Mike is negative, right? It's Mike's fault. It's that darn AZ sports fan that just speaks negative. And my words are the ones that are affecting this organization, right? It's my fault, right? I'll be the bad guy, okay. But Keith in the chat says Cards are 500 or lower for 30 of 37 years in Arizona. Let that sink in. I haven't even been alive this long, so my negativity in a womb is probably the reason why, right? It's probably the reason why we lose, right? It's probably why. It's the way that it is. It's the way that it is, and we allow it to happen. We allow it to happen with things like this is year 2. I'm over it, man. I'm over it. Will I lose subscribers for being like this? Yeah, but that's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with speaking my truth, because at the end of the day, I came into this channel with having a therapy session because I was so pissed off with this team underperforming year in and year out. That's why this channel was created. Not to be the favorite, not to be the most liked. Because I could sit back and tell you we'll win 10 games. I won't sleep. I won't sleep at night telling I lie to you guys. No. Did I have a little hope when we were 6-4? Of course I had hope, because guess what? The Cardinals were performing good. You're on a 3-game losing streak with your franchise quarterback saying, "Don't text me. I'm going to be fine." Right? I'll be all right. Don't text me. Got my guy in the chat says Kenny Dillingham should coach the Cardinals. I like Jonathan Gannon too. I think he's a great person. And I'm not coming out here and saying, oh, JG needs to get fired. No, but let's not sit back and act like a coach can't do that, right? Coach can do that. I like JG, and it's easy to see the defense shaping up nicely. Exactly, 100%. We're playing way more disciplined football. Things are going well outside the offense. Well, that's the problem, the offense, right? And that's one of the main reasons why I'm not on JG. That's one of the main reasons why I'm not on JG, because I'm one of those guys that for some people that like to reach back out to me and saying, oh, you never blame the defense. You never blame the defense. This defense has actually done a pretty darn good job with the players they have on this field. And that means scheme is working, and that means these players are playing hard, right? Have they had a couple games that their motor wasn't high enough, right? Or that their pad level wasn't there, right? Per Jonathan Gannon. Of course, yeah. You're going to have games like that. You're going to have games like the Commanders. You're going to have games like the Packers, where you're just outbeat because you're not that great. That's one of the reasons why I do like Jonathan Gannon, because he's making progress and consistent progress too. It's not one of these things where it's like, oh, it's 1 or 2 games. No, the sample size, what we've seen, was enough to say, man, this defense is coming out here and actually balling. You put some actual defensive talent on here, this might be a really good defense because the scheme is working. Nick Rallis and Jonathan Gannon is doing good. It's this offense that's consistently underperforming, and it's not just these 3 games, right? We were 6-4. That's what I always say. When you win, a lot of things get put under the rug. A lot of things get thrown in the rug all the time. It happens in every single team, not just the Cardinals. Every single team. Things get put under the rug when you win. But this offense has been doing this all freaking year long. All year long. I think Kyler Murray has, one 300-yard game? And hasn't had that 300-yard game since, 2021 versus the Vikings, I believe is who it was, if I can remember correctly. And I'm not saying you got to have Kyler Murray hit all 300 yards to win games. I mean, that would help. It would be nice. It would be cool, right? Nothing will ever change until we change. And unfortunately, because people don't like negativity, it will never. Because right now ASU is doing good, right? Let's focus on that. Let's focus on progress. If next year is better than I'm predicting right now, then I'll eat crow. Cool. Okay, no worries. I would rather put a prediction out right now and be absolutely wrong than be hyped up about $100 million when we kind of see what Monty Alsonford has done so far, and be hyped up. So what's going to happen? What? We're going to sign more mid-tier players? That's what's going to happen? And I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry. Most of the time, this you can't predict injuries. That's the truth. But I don't think anybody, and I mean anybody, had Justin Jones or Bilal Nichols as their favorite targets in free agency this year. Anybody? Oh, wait. Anybody look at the free agency class and they're like, you're the one I want because you're an Iron Man. You're an Iron Man, Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols. You're an Iron Man. Anybody wanted them? One thing Monty's got going for him right now is his drafts. They're working. I got all the faith that Marvin will be good, will be fine. But it's just going back to the same thing that we're all going back to, ladies and gentlemen. Keith in the chat says, I love it. You're not giving them a free pass. Here's the thing. One person not giving them a free pass doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. Unless the fan base is starting to feel that same way. And guess what? When it comes to Kyler, I don't know if you guys saw, but my most recent poll that I actually put out on YouTube, and of course I was like, you guys know dang well that I was going to put this, right? I have to start off like that because most people are very, very, you know what I'm trying to say, right? On my most recent post, or not my most recent, but I end up asking you guys, I have 1,700 votes. 1,700 votes. And I'm going to show you guys this so you don't think I'm talking out of my bum here. Check this out. So I ended up asking you guys, you all knew this was coming. How do you feel about Kyler Murray moving forward, right? And you got 50% saying, that's my QB, right? And I'm not sitting here saying, oh man, this 1,700 subscribers or these 1,700 votes, that's the whole fan base. No, of course not, right? The Cardinals have a fan base of probably 80,000, 90,000 people. So this is just a smidge, right? A 1%. But to see 1,700 people get involved in this specific topic, right? I'm glad. I'm happy. So 1,700 votes came out and said 50% saying he's still my QB. Awesome. Keep the faith. Keep it. But the other 50%, now it's broken down, right? It's broken down into other stuff, but it's 50% still nonetheless. 30% feels like they're stuck with them. 15% says draft the QB fast. And then 5% saying other, right? Now let's look into the others, shall we? My patience is running thin with Kyler. When Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, and other QBs are playing better than Kyler, that says it all. Well, people still love Kyler Murray hasn't done anything in 6 years. Damn you, Kyler. Fans are delusional. Kyler is holding back a good team. We need a new QB, right? So this is the others. These are the other people out here that, obviously come to this channel that feel like they have some sort of voice, right? They have some sort of voice. Because too many times have we seen fluff pieces from this organization year in and year out. Too many times. Going back to my guy Keith here. Cardinals are 500 or lower for 30 of 37 of these seasons. I'm 35 years old. That means pre-Mike, right? That means pre-Mike. I wasn't even born yet. We were mid. Terrible. So, here we are. That's my truth. I'll take it. If I'm wrong, I am wrong. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be closing up shop right here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in as always. Do me a huge favor, smack up the like button here on your way out. But let me give a huge shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. That's going to be BetUS. If you're looking for a brand new sportsbook, BetUS is the way to go. Currently, right now, if you use promo code YouTube150 upon signing up, you will be getting 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and 125% sign-up bonus on the following two. That's going to be using promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. Of course, bet responsibly and bet within your means. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As always, we will be closing up shop right here. Hopefully, I am wrong. Hopefully, I'm just over-dramatic. And things go better for the Cardinals with $100 million to spend next year. And Kyler Murray going to his 7th year. Let's see what happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Absolute pleasure speaking to everybody that super chatted, everybody that smacked the like button. I absolutely appreciate you guys for joining in this chat and obviously chopping it up here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cardinals.